What is your American dream?
My American dream is one day opening my Fifth Avenue craft couture shop, classy men and women's stuff. The first African-inspired clothes and accessories on Fifth Avenue. Right in front of Trump Tower.
Successful and free, you know? Yeah, it's all about being successful.
My American dream is to be one of the best known chef there is. Yeah, that's where I want to be now. I want to be known.
And to be the best I can be.
My dream is to be with my family and be able to take care of my family the best way I possibly can. I've had 2 more children since I've come here, and being in the United States has its benefits for my children.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Three, 2, 1.
We here.
Blast off, we're here.
Live.
And in person.
Yeah.
For your viewing entertainment. Vanessa Descourt-Contreras, take it away, my dear.
Welcome to Bradshaw Live. How are you?
We're good.
Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, continue, please.
What's up, squad? Squad up, y'all. Hope that y'all having an amazing Tea Time Tuesday. Mr. Bernstein, how you feeling?
I feel fantastic. What
That's
you talking
good.
about?
What you talking about, Willis? Inside joke.
Yada and I are bringing back
here.
our Arnold, Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman.
Gary
Different
Coleman,
strokes.
yes. So let's say hello to the squad. Chetty Manbordi, squad up. How are you? Shirley Moore, Mavo Tom, Jessica Leamy, squad up. Annette Campbell Miller, squad up. Sisha Mitchell, squad up. Not a lot of comments yet so far on Facebook.
Where y'all at?
I mean, did you guys catch Here Goes Carol Anderson the Tiger again with her herb tea? She's bragging about her herb tea, but I don't know if we've got the recipe yet.
I don't even know what tea we're getting today.
Right.
Let's see what's going on YouTube. Susie Q Max, squad up. Shakira Baishru saying, hi, Brad. Carol, the top cat tigress, squad up. Shakira saying, good to be here again. And Kay, God bless, squad up. Hosea Mande saying, hello to my D.C. family. I guess he has some family in Washington, D.C.
Hey.
Asila Enots, squad up. Jessica Leamy, double fisting. And Ada Sambo Adalaja, squad up. Robin Sathu Murthy. Vanessa.
Sathia Murthy.
She has a question, a pre Schmooze question. And her question is this live?
Well, I mean, the answer to that is yes.
Yes. We're live, unless, of course, you're watching this later, and then we're not live.
She also said, hi, Brad.
You know, because she could be watching this later after we're not live, and then we wouldn't be live anymore.
Right.
But she's live with us right now if she's asking the question right now.
Correct. So yes, at this very second,
at
we are live.
6:41 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday,
Yes.
August 24th, 2021.
Then we're live if you're watching at that moment.
Professor Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias says we are live.
Yes.
But he will take you back to the future later.
Yes. Welcome to the past.
Yeah, all right. Wissam Asalawa. I don't even know what he's saying. Green Mike, not just for dreamers, don't be selfish. What does that even mean? And he's laughing.
Green Mike saying
Who's
it's
Green
happening.
Mike?
Reconciliation
it's happening.
and
It's
the path
happening.
for dreamers moved on.
Green Mike is a person. It's happening.
Yes.
It is happening because the reconciliation passed today. It is it's not done deal yet.
Right.
It is the first step in many steps. What the reconciliation does, that passed a few minutes before we came on the air, is it allows individual congressional committees now to draft legislation that covers healthcare and education, infrastructure, and of course, what we're interested in here, immigration, up to $3.5 trillion would be the maximum allowed to be spent on the entire budget. So we will see, they made a pie, 3.5 trillion.
Right.
It matches what the Senate passed, 3.5 children, 3.5 trillion. They passed the same exact pie. Now we got to see what they put in the pie. Is it going to be immigration? What part of immigration? What is it going to be? The DREAM Act? Is it going to be more than the DREAM Act? A full amnesty? Amnesty for frontline workers? Amnesty for farm workers? Amnesty for people with TPS? Is it going to be a making green cards faster for people? Categories faster? For example, Indian professionals are waiting, some people say 50 years. What are they going to do about that? Family-based petitions, brothers and sisters waiting sometimes 15, 20 years. Married children of U.S. citizens waiting 15 plus years. What are they going to do about that? What type of visas are they going to make to allow people to be reunited with their family? What type of work visas are they going to make? I think they know, but they haven't told us yet.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, Green Mike's saying that he's staying optimistic.
I am staying optimistic as well.
Yes.
Vanessa, do you feel optimistic or pessimistic?
I'm feeling optimistic.
You're feeling optimistic. I'm feeling optimistic as well.
I've always been optimistic. That's all that I'm going to keep on. Even if I feel like it might not, I'm going to say I'm optimistic. I'm going to put out positive energy.
All right, Jonathan and Vanessa, take it away.
Absolutely. All right, squad, you already know what time it is. It's time for you guys to share because we're going to start schmoozing and talking headlines, including news that President Biden has decided to keep his August 31st deadline to withdraw from Afghanistan as evacuations accelerate.
And it's Tuesday, so we'll be sipping some tea with Brad on some celebrity headlines, including comedian Larry David spotted on the Massachusetts island of Martha's Vineyard, not curbing his enthusiasm.
And of course, you can always call right now, 1-800-529-5465. That is the telephone number scrolling at the bottom of your screen. That is also the telephone number that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, holding a sign, drags across your screen right now to call to get on our show. It's really Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with my head. It's not my body, that's for sure. But so whoever drew that body was just being extraordinarily generous to Uncle Brad.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay, but you can call 1-800-529-5465 to call to get on our show right now. Of course, international, it's +1-212-227-8933. And then after our schmooze, after we call and you call and I answer your immigration questions, we will get into our social media check-in. Jonathan and Vanessa are scouring your comments both on Facebook and YouTube for the best questions, issues, and problems of the day to ask me. And then later in the show, we're going to hear the second part of my conversation with Priya Sridhar, host of the NBC7 San Diego Sunday News Show, Politically Speaking, and an officer in the United States Navy Reserve, about her experience working overseas and her path to military service. And with that, you ready to start some schmoozing?
Absolutely. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, of course you can say something real quick.
First of all, I just love the fact that Jessica Leamy was like, no tea, barefoot Riesling for me. Like, I feel like people really do sit back and relax when they're watching this show. They like
very
get their
true.
wine and it's like, all right, my favorite show is on.
Yeah.
Let's watch.
She's pulling out the white wine.
I like that. I like that. In the middle of the week.
Why not?
Why not?
You know what? Everybody works hard.
Yes.
All right. And
You deserve it.
And you want to know what? After the show, I pull out a glass of wine too. Trust me.
I sure do.
All right. I work hard too. But this is still work for me.
Right,
so I
right.
can't sit back and relax.
Right. Because
But
I definitely would. If I could.
I would love to go sit back and relax and watch myself and yo-yo and Vanessa. I wish I could get that out-of-body experience, but I
Right.
can't. But after the show, I will definitely pull out a glass of white wine or red wine as
And
well.
watch it.
Why not? Right before we got on the air, I got to confirm more about this. I read it very, very quickly. But USCIS came out with a new memo. The Department of Homeland Security came out with a new memo requiring COVID tests for every person who is going to be entering the United States as of October 1st. You need a negative COVID test, whether U.S. citizen, resident, non-immigrant visa holder. You have to take that COVID test within 72 hours of getting on an airplane, or prove that you have recovered from COVID in the last 6 months. In addition, as of October 1st, any person who will be applying for a green card, whether you get sponsored by your spouse or a family member, you got sponsored in a job, you've applied for asylum, whether you're adjusting your status in the United States or you are getting a green card, an immigrant visa appointment at the U.S. Embassy in another country. Part of the requirement now is to prove that you are fully vaccinated for COVID as of October 1st. That just literally happened within the last hour or so of us coming on the air. It's a result of the CDC, the FDA, approving the Pfizer vaccine, saying that it is no longer emergency authorized, but it is now authorized for general use as safe and effective. And once that happened, the U.S. military is now requiring vaccinations of everybody. Many people are requiring governors. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But here it is, Department of Homeland Security requiring every person obtaining a green card as of October 1st moving forward as part of the medical exam that you have to submit to immigration, whether it's at the U.S. Embassy for an immigrant visa, whether it's adjustment of status, your requirement to have a fully COVID vaccine, both shots.
I'm wondering if, so does this mean that you would get the vaccine in the United States or in their own country?
Either.
Oh, either?
Because you have to show that you're vaccinated.
Right, because I know at least in Africa, some parts of Africa
it's
very difficult. My friend, her grandmother just passed, and she was actually trying to come here to try and get a vaccine.
I don't know what they're going to do in certain parts of the world.
Yikes.
I honestly don't know. This just happened within the last hour or so.
Wow.
So I just got to confirm it all. I just saw a news post. I didn't read anything directly from the Department of Homeland Security. I actually saw a news post. So I got to confirm it, and we'll confirm it and on our next show. But and I don't know what they would do in certain parts of the world where vaccines are limited. So who knows what would happen there?
So since we're on the subject, I'm not going to take away from the social media check-in, but we're on the subject. Is this Cesha Mitchell?
Cesha Mitchell.
Cesha Mitchell saying, so does that mean people who already have an application and will have to be vaccinated? Does that mean?
I believe what that means is if you don't have a green card as of October 1st.
So even if your application
that's how I read the news article. Again, I have not read the fine print yet, I have to be honest with you.
Because it just happened.
It just happened. Yeah. But from what I understand, from what I read, it appears that if you don't have a green card as of October 1st, they are going to require you to be vaccinated to get the green card.
Awesome.
So for a lot of the anti-vaxxers out there, a lot of people who don't like to put anything in their body, it's going to be a very, very, very tough choice.
Yeah.
But it's going to be that for everything. For example, today in New York, Governor Cuomo, he left office. We're gonna kind of swing around a little bit, Julian. Governor Cuomo, he left office, and he was replaced by Kathy Hochul. Almost sounds like how cool, but Hochul. Hochul, not how cool. And she was sworn in as the first female governor. And part of her swearing-in speech, She said, boy, she said by the seashore. She said that as part of her acceptance speech to become the governor of the state of New York, that her first thing that she's going to do is require the New York State Department of Health to mandate that every adult who works in any school in the state of New York, whether public or private, be vaccinated.
Wow.
That is one of her first things that she will be doing as governor. And that comes on the heels of Mayor de Blasio saying that city school, every adult in the city school, public school system needs to be vaccinated. That comes on the heels of United Airlines requiring it. That comes on the heels of the U.S. military requiring it. United Airlines is requiring it of all their employees.
Right.
That comes on the heel of the biggest health provider in New York, Northwell, requiring it of all of their employees as well. There was a walkout in one of their Northwell Staten Island hospitals as a result of that. So I mean, it's going to happen everywhere. It's not a situation where there is going to be, people trying to, manipulate you into a vaccination. What it's going to be, it's going to be mandated. It's going to be mandated to live your life, to get a green card, to be in the military, to work in certain hospitals and corporations, to walk into restaurants. Ultimately, I'm sure that's what's going to happen too. So part of life in America, at least, I don't know about the rest of the world, but part of life in America is going to be, it's going to be hard to get around mandates of vaccinations now that the CDC and the FDA has come out and said that the Pfizer vaccine is authorized. I assume in the next few weeks we're going to hear that Moderna is also authorized and safe. And I assume even a couple weeks after that, we're going to hear Johnson & Johnson. What are you looking up in the air?
Because seeing if the air is on.
Oh, okay. I thought you were praying to God for a second. All of a sudden,
I am praying that Moderna gets there.
I'm talking about mandates and vaccines, and Yo-Yo's like, I thought you were praying to God.
Well, Carol Anderson, the Tiger, said, I agree with her. Absolutely. They should get vaccinated, and at business places should as well. So. Yeah.
Now, according to a study published today by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, vaccine effectiveness against COVID infection dropped from 91% to 66% once the Delta variant was accounted for. So you go on the original COVID, the one that came from Wuhan, whether it came from the wet market or lab or wherever it came from, the original COVID, the vaccine was 91% effective. With the Delta variant, which mutated, it's 66% effective. But despite that, almost it is extraordinarily effective in preventing disease that would require you to be hospitalized or even possibly die. So even though you may get COVID, most likely if you are vaccinated, to an extraordinarily high level of probability, it will be a bad cold. It will not be a deadly disease for you. About 51.5% of the population is currently vaccinated. Dr. Fauci, some people believe him, some people don't. He says that in order for America to get back to quote unquote normal, we're going to need to have an overwhelming majority of people vaccinated by spring of 2022. What is an overwhelming majority? He didn't say the percentage. I would put it at 90%.
Oof.
I would put it at 90%.
I mean, with all these new rules coming out, they might get there by spring.
I don't know, maybe. Right now, COVID is not under control. There's 147,000 new cases a day in the United States hospitals. In Kentucky, multiple National Guard teams are being deployed to hospitals across the state, dealing with the rise of COVID-19 cases and hospital staffing shortages. Even here in New Jersey, I'm just reading, Governor Phil Murphy announced a vaccine mandate Monday, all state employees, which includes pre-K through 12 schools and public universities, are all required to be vaccinated in New Jersey by October 18th.
I'm just saying, you know, if they had done this a little earlier, because there's so many festivals going on. I actually was supposed to interview celebrities at one in Jersey at MetLife on Sunday, and I did not go because the Delta variant is out there.
So you didn't go because of the Delta variant? Was it canceled or you chose not to go?
No, I chose not to.
Really?
Yeah. It's like hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay.
It's scary, actually.
Now, I'm proud of you. At the same time, surprised. I thought you would have won anyway.
No. And everybody was there. Cardi B, everybody was there. Lil Kim. Oh.
Yeah, but you want to know what? You know,
my life is.
But you want to know what?
More.
Cardi B, Lil Kim, they're human too.
Yeah.
You know, they're just as likely to get it as anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, but if they're vaccinated, they're not likely to be sick.
But I'm sure there were not a lot. I mean, I'm sure that there was a big amount of people that attended that concert that's not vaccinated.
All right. Well, the other big news is Afghanistan. Joe Biden is sticking with his decision for the United States to pull out by August 31st. He made the decision mindful of the security risks of remaining in the country longer. Even as the United States flies out tens of thousands of people out of the country each day, the situation in Afghanistan is pretty desperate. Now, the crisis required talks between Biden and the G7 leaders from the 7 largest economies in the world. They all came together on a video conference today about the evacuations from Afghanistan. The White House, the G7 leaders requested Biden to stay in Afghanistan longer. He said no, the U.S. is picking up and leaving. The White House did say yesterday that 12,700 people were evacuated by 37 U.S. military flights. 8,900 were evacuated by coalition flights in the last 24 hours. That means almost 20,000 people they got out of Afghanistan in the last 24 hours.
Wow.
58,700 people have evacuated from Afghanistan since August 14th. The American military is in control of the Kabul International Airport. They are in control of its airspace. They are in control of air traffic control, even though the Taliban controls everything else. Now, representatives of the Taliban have called the August 31st deadline firm. They said that the United States remaining in Afghanistan after August 31st would be a violation of the treaty that they originally signed with Donald Trump. Now, CIA Director Bill Burns, he traveled to Afghanistan this week to meet with Taliban leaders, according to officials who said that the United States is seeking a clearer understanding of where the Taliban stands on many different issues. Now, the Taliban is saying that they do not want any Afghans to go to the airport, that Afghans are absolutely safe in Afghanistan, that bellies the news reports of Taliban fighters who are targeting people and their families who assisted the United States. They're also targeting women who have taken positions both in the community and women who have flouted their very conservative Islamic values. So we'll see what happens there. You know, a lot of questions we don't have answers to in Afghanistan.
Right.
I get a lot of questions every day. How do you get out of Afghanistan? It's humanitarian parole, military parole, get to a third country and apply for refugee status. Even if you apply for that humanitarian parole or military parole, who knows how long it will take to get approved, if it ever does get approved. And then how do you still get out of the country once you have these papers? That's a whole other story. How do you get to the airport? That's a whole other story.
Right.
You know, if you're really, you know, the best solution is just figure out a way to get out. You know, you don't have, as a lawyer, unfortunately, I can't parachute into Afghanistan and, you know, take somebody out on a private airplane.
Right.
I don't have a private airplane. I don't know how to parachute, and I'm certainly not qualified to go into a military zone in Afghanistan. So for me to tell people how to get out, I have no idea,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I get those. It's sad because I wish I could help, but I don't have the answers.
Right.
Meanwhile, people are asking, well, what is the United States doing to vet the people who are coming out of Afghanistan? How do we know they are good people and not bad people? Well, there is such a thing as the Afghan Special Immigrant Visa Program. It's existed since 2009. It's meant to provide a pathway to the United States for Afghans who are employed by or worked on behalf of the U.S. military. Now, there's a lengthy, multi-step process for the special immigrant visa applicants to apply for visas to the United States. They have to have met certain employment qualifications for the U.S. government or U.S. military, provide supporting documents of what they did to assist the U.S. military and the United States government, including proof of their employment, a letter of recommendation from their United States superior, and evidence of their Afghan nationality. After that, they go through an entire biometrics process and security clearance. Biometrics includes voice prints, scans of your eyes, palm prints, facial photos, and everybody on all of those special immigrant visas applicants who have received instructions to come to the airport have already completed certain stages of that vetting process already. So there is a very strong vetting process. That's what's going on in the world today. It's COVID, it's Afghanistan. We have any tea? I'm thirsty.
Yes.
Bring out the tea.
Bring out the tea! Bring out the tea!
Yo.
Yo, it's Jeremy the butler. What you talking about, Willis?
A new saying every single week.
Have you to thank.
What kind of tea did you bring today?
I got spicy black tea with cardamom.
Spicy
Ooh.
black tea with what?
Caramel?
Cardamom.
Oh, cardamom.
Carda what? Cardamom.
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 Cardamom. Right. Cardamom is the lady in the SUV taking her kids around
Cardamom.
to soccer practice.
Yeah.
That's a car mom. This is different,
Thank
right?
you.
Whole different person.
Whole different person. All right, let's taste it. Thank you very much, Butler. Let's see what's going on our tea news today. Cheers.
Yes.
Let's see if this is any good.
Ooh, it smells good.
Oh, it's so good.
Ooh. Ooh.
I want you to know something. It's
chai tea. Black
Oh, that
chai
makes more
tea.
sense now. I didn't know what cardamom
Right.
right. Cardamom's
Cardamom
a
is a
spice.
spice.
Oh, okay, but it's
Okay.
black chai. I know that, but I didn't know.
Nesquik, what kind do you have?
I literally just have like lemon iced tea.
Nesquik's not as fancy
You're not
as
as
in the
fancy
studio.
as in the studio,
Yeah.
Nesquik.
Oh.
Have chai
I
tea.
can get chai.
So, does anybody watch Jeopardy here? Are you a Jeopardy watcher?
No, I used to when I was younger.
I
I was
used-
more of a Wheel of Fortune guy.
You love Pat Sajak
Yes, and Vanna White.
and Vanna White?
Yeah.
You ever watch Jeopardy?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I agree. Wheel of Fortune was way more fun.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of Jeopardy fans out there.
Yeah.
And Alex Trebek, he passed away, and there
So
was
sad.
a big to do about replacing him.
Right.
And the executive producer Mike Richards, he brought in all these guest hosts, and he tried out God knows how many people, and at the end he said, you know what? I'll be my own host. You know what he did?
Wait, he's the E EP?
Yes, he was the executive producer. So you know what he did, Vanessa? You know what he did?
What?
He other than I have nothing to do with this guy, other than me and him have one thing in common. I was the executive producer of this show, and I looked around for all the different hosts to do it, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. Why not? I got this. So he did the same thing, except I didn't test anyone out. I just went and did it. He did the same exact
I'm
thing after
not feeling
testing out.
that.
He had LeVar Burton.
That's
and-
why I'm mad, because
Right.
I feel like LeVar Burton should have got it. There are so many people signing petitions for him, and he
Yeah.
actually wanted that gig.
And-
so
And I LeVar Burton You know, he became famous from being Kunta Kinte in Roots.
Right, and then
in the
off
1970s.
Reading Rainbow, I grew up
Right.
with watching Reading Rainbow.
Right.
He's all about education.
Right. So, any event, after going through,
Trifling.
what was it? Trifling.
Trifling.
Yes, Vanessa, trifling. So after going through all of these hosts, he says, you know what?
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm going to make myself the producer.
No,
I'm going to make
host.
myself the host. I'm the producer. I'm going to make myself the
Please.
host too.
And ain't nobody asked him to do that.
So apparently he was a stand-up comedian, a failed stand-up comedian who then went on to be an executive producer at The Price is Right and then eventually become the executive producer at Jeopardy. However, Sony executives said the ultimate decision for being the host was not his, and then he stepped aside from the process once he became a candidate. Yeah, right. I don't buy it. I think there was like some sort of backdoor
Right.
dealing. But
Absolutely.
be that as it may, he was a failed comedian, and he always wanted to be in front of the camera, but he was always behind the camera. He did a podcast, and on his podcast, I guess, trying to be like a funny guy.
Oh my God.
All he did was insult everybody in racist, anti-Semitic, misogynist
Wow.
comments against blacks, Jews, and women.
Wow, great candidate.
Great candidate.
Great.
Great candidate to be the host of Jeopardy. So once all of his anti-Semitic and racist and misogynistic comments came out, he said, "Oh, you found me out. I can't be the host of Jeopardy anymore."
No.
So so he stepped aside, and now there is no host of Jeopardy other than Mayim, what's her last name? Bialik. Mayim Bialik, she was on.
Is that Blossom?
Yes.
And then she was on Big Bang Theory?
She was on Big Bang Theory,
Yeah,
exactly.
Blossom. You don't remember? That's when she was a kid.
Yeah,
Blossom.
she was Blossom, and now she was on
Wow.
Big Bang Theory. So she's going to host this week. She's also going to host the prime time. We don't know if she's going to get
Give it to
be
LeVar.
the host of everything.
Give it to LeVar Burton.
But now I have to say, after
Look at him. He's right in the middle.
what a bad look, by the way, for Jeopardy
Yeah,
now. If after they hire this white dude who turned out to be a racist, anti-Semitic, misogynist, that they then go and hire another white dude, it's going to be a bad look for Jeopardy, right? Right? They have to have.
You had people from all walks of life that wanted LeVar Burton to be it. Like, he literally raised a whole generation with Reading Rainbow. And he wants to do it. He's the perfect candidate.
Would you be okay if Blossom and LeVar Burton, a combination?
A combination, sure.
Yeah. In other words, because they want Blossom, they want Miriam. I forgot her
We
name.
keep on calling her
Call her
Blossom.
Blossom to be the prime time. And then they need to
switch
find
it out. I would
Mayim
love that.
Bialik.
Yeah, you have a woman and then you have a black man.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you got it.
Diversity at its finest.
Inclusivity at its finest.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is trifling.
Trifling, right?
Out of 16 people, like big time people that they put on
Yeah.
there, they gonna pick him.
They picked a nobody host. They picked a nobody executive producer, and they said
this is why I
the
don't
jig
like
wasn't
this.
up.
And as much as I have to be in this industry because like I have true love for it, I hate this industry because of stuff like that. It's so unfair.
You know, when I read this stuff, I want to pour vodka into this
Yeah.
tea.
God, I wish
you
I
wanna
had
drink.
some in here.
Makes you want to drink a little bit.
So foul.
Meanwhile, there was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm situation in Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. You ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? It's a funny show. It's a very funny show. So, Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm, if you've ever watched Seinfeld.
Yes.
Okay. So the character George on Seinfeld is modeled after Larry David, and then when Seinfeld went off the air, Larry David did a new show. Basically, he's George, but now successful George instead of loser George. That's basically the difference. And the show is scripted, but it's also they talk off the cuff as well. So nevertheless, he is a staunch liberal, Larry David, and he bumped into Alan Dershowitz, who is the famous constitutional lawyer from Harvard, who was representing Donald Trump in his impeachment. And Alan Dershowitz walked over to Larry David in the food store in Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. He said, "We can still talk, Larry." And then Larry David replied, no, we really can't. I saw you with your arm around Mike Pompeo. It's disgusting. Dershowitz replied, "He's my former student. I greet all my former students that way. I can't greet my former students." Larry David replied, "It's disgusting. Your whole enclave, it's disgusting. You're disgusting." And then Larry David walked away and refused to talk to the lawyer of Alan Dershowitz because he was representing Donald Trump.
Oh.
All right. So now it's become a situation. These guys used to be friends, and now they hate each other. All right. Have you seen situations where families and friendships have been torn apart because of politics?
I've heard of friends. See, at least in my family, we're all pretty much the same, right? But then I've heard other friends and associates where their family have a big difference, and arguments happen at the table because of politics.
Right. Have you seen, Vanessa, anything with your friends or family where politics has gotten involved and broken up friendships?
I don't think that they've fully broken up friendships, but I think it's kind of like I might lean to not invite so and so next time.
Mm-hmm.
Like just
Has that happened where like somebody was like a pro MAGA Trump person, and then you're like, I don't want to hang out with them anymore?
I feel like I have to say, especially around the election, there's kind of like that energy around, but then like once it passes, people kind of forget what people's like political views are, and then you're like, okay, and then it'll be like you're at an event and it's like, oh yeah, that's right, they're a Trump supporter. It happened to me at a comedy show. I was with a friend, and like I really enjoy this friend, like getting to know her, someone here in Miami, of course. Long story short, we've hung out a few times. We go to a comedy show and there's like a Trump joke made, and she was one of those people that was like, I love Trump, and I was like, ooh.
Ooh.
I'd have been like, you what?
Yeah. Now, I want you to know, I haven't ended a friendship over it, but I have either muted or literally unfollowed people who were posting too much Trump crap, especially during the election. I would accept at least, all right, I saw one, fine. You said what your position is. I closed my eyes to it. I don't like it. But if somebody who was posting Trump, I said, all right, you're gone, goodbye.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it anymore. I don't need to be your friend. I don't follow you anymore. So I've unfollowed a lot of people who are like very pro-Trump, and posting like Trump's MAGA stuff. It was annoying me.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
I've definitely.
Yes.
Facebook.
Meanwhile, Alan Dershowitz, this was, by the way, a spy. This was in the New York Post. A spy said this like little thing happened between Dershowitz and Larry David. And when the Post followed up with him, Dershowitz, he said, I'll still be friends with Larry David. He just doesn't want to talk to me. I wouldn't want to talk to him either.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Beyonce has made fashion history as the first black woman to wear the iconic 128.5 carat Tiffany diamond. Can we get like a close up on that? 128 carat Tiffany diamond. It is unearthed in South Africa in 1877. It has been worn by people like Mary Whitehouse, the wife of American diplomat Edwin Sheldon Whitehouse. It has been worn by Audrey Hepburn, the famous Hollywood starlet from Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's been worn by Lady Gaga. And now it is being worn for the first time by a black woman ever, even though it came from Africa. Quite
That's why
ironic, right?
I'm
And it is 128 carats. It's featured in an advertising campaign for Tiffany's. Now, part of the campaign, you see there's a Basquiat.
That's an unseen, right?
Yes, that was the first Basquiat painting in the back. For those who don't know, Jean-Michel Basquiat, he was extraordinarily famous pop artist from the 1980s. He died at a very, very young, early age. I think it was either drug overdose or HIV, but I think it was a drug overdose. He was best friends with Andy Warhol. People know who Andy Warhol is. Andy Warhol and Jean-Michel Basquiat, they basically lived together, did their art together, traveled together, partied together at Studio 54 or whatever those iconic discos from the 1980s. And his art goes for his artwork goes for 30, 40, 50, 60 million. Priceless art.
And he ain't never got to see that.
And he never saw any money from that because he died. He died not as he became successful after his death.
I hate stuff like that.
And also, by the way, his art goes for that much because he didn't make a lot of it.
Right.
So because he died at such a young age, his artwork goes for a lot more money than Andy Warhol because Andy Warhol made like 18,000 works of art over his career. I don't know how much Basquiat made, but it's not nowhere near 18,000 works of art. Nevertheless, all of Basquiat's work is a statement on the commercialization of art and the commercialization of products, and was basically anti-capitalist. And there's a lot of backlash that Jay-Z and Beyonce are using an artist's work who was basically an anti-capitalist and against product and advertising and all of this, commercialization for the purpose of making a commercial for Tiffany's. Also quite ironic. A lot of irony in this advertising campaign, Vanessa.
Yeah. Yes.
Blood diamond. That's all I gotta say. Are y'all gonna give that diamond back to Africa? Big up, for sure, big ups to them for that, but me as a black man, I don't think that it's, a win for the black race just because Beyonce is the first black woman to wear that diamond. But
now this is what Tiffany's has to say. I'll tell you what, Tiffany's has a different take on it, Yo-Yo.
I wonder why.
Right. Tiffany's take on this is this. Beyonce and Jay-Z are the epitome of modern love story. As a brand that has always stood for love, strength, and self-expression, we could not think of a more iconic couple that better represents Tiffany's values. We are honored to have the Carters as part of the Tiffany family and as part of their global advertising launch. On behalf of Tiffany's, Beyonce will be releasing a song called About Love. And it is about love, and she's releasing a song called Moon River, which is the famous song from the 1961 movie. It's a remake of the famous song from the 1961 movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. I don't know what that song is.
I don't either.
Do you know what that song is? We'll find out soon once it's released.
Yes.
Moon River. That's it?
I don't know. I was just going off of you.
I don't know. Moon River.
Moon River. We're going to hear
River.
it.
I have no idea.
We'll hear it soon.
We'll hear it soon, though. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't. Let's leave it to the professionals.
You don't want me to sing?
You can't do what you want.
After all, I am the executive producer and made myself the host. So I can do whatever I want.
You deserve to be the host.
What time we have here?
Ooh, 7:20.
It's late.
Let's go.
All right, we gotta get moving. In today's Braducation, I talk about incorporating a business and the decision makers that need to be listed in articles of incorporation. Let's watch. My goal is straightforward, to make the law usable and easy to understand for everyone. All of us in the United States have equal rights and should have an equal opportunity and a right to justice. I'm here to help because I want everybody to achieve their American dream. I'm Brad Bernstein, and this is your Incorporation for Education. I'm not here to tell you what you'll want to know. I'm here to tell you what you need to know. My objective is to make the law easy for you to understand so that you can use the justice system, know your rights, take advantage of the law, and achieve your American dream. For many entrepreneurs, incorporating a business is the best way to protect themselves and their owners and shareholders from personal liability for the business's actions and debts. So is a corporation right for you? Well, there are pros and cons to forming a corporation. The most common pro is that incorporating a business limits your personal liability for business obligations, meaning you protect your assets, such as your home or vehicles. Another pro is that a corporation's ownership is contained in shares that are easy to transfer from one owner to another. And unlike a sole proprietorship or general partnership, you can pass your corporation on to someone else if something happens to you, unless you decide to have the corporation dissolve upon your death. Now, here are the cons to incorporating. It costs money to set up and dissolve a corporation, and corporations have additional record-keeping and annual reporting requirements that sole proprietorships and partnerships just don't have. Another important thing to check before deciding to incorporate is how it will affect your taxes. If after you've considered the pros and cons and you decided to incorporate, you'll need to prepare articles of incorporation and file them with the state. Each state has its own rules about how to incorporate, but here's some basic information you're going to need. Number one, you will need your business name. Now, rules about businesses' names vary, but most include these general guidelines. Your business name must be different from the name of any other business entity registered to do business in your state. There are also restrictions on certain words in a business name. And your business name must end with incorporated, company, corporation, or an abbreviation of one of those words. You need a business address. Your articles of incorporation must also list the names of some of your decision makers. There are two types of decision makers you will probably have to identify: incorporators and directors. In all states, the articles of incorporation must list the names of one or more incorporators. An incorporator is a person responsible for preparing, signing, and filing the articles of incorporation. Incorporators' duties typically end once the articles are filed and a board of directors is chosen. Some states require a list of the corporation's board of directors. The board of directors is responsible for setting corporate goals and policies and naming officers to conduct the corporation's day-to-day business. In a small business, the board of directors is usually made up of the business owners. Each state laws set a minimum number of board directors, usually 1 to 3, and they do not have to be shareholders in the business. Let's go to our question and answers, our meat and potato. You got a question, I got an answer. Put your mic on, Brad. Well, we're putting you back in the booth as the executive producer. We're going to find a new host. All right, let's go to Emmanuel in the Bronx. Emmanuel.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm calling regarding to, I was granted asylum in 2017, and then I waited for like a year in 2018. I filed for my green card, and then after 3 years, I couldn't hear anything from them until last month. They just mailed me a document. We're gonna use your old fingerprint to process your case.
Great.
So after that, in 2 weeks' time, that was on July 9th. They said they mailed a document for me based on the receipt number you give us. So if I didn't get it on August 8th, I should let them know. I don't know what kind of document they said they mailed to me
So call them
on
up.
the address.
Call them up, or you can go online and request a duplicate copy. I don't know what they mailed you either.
Yeah, I did that. I call USCIS and then I asked them what kind of document. The lady over there, she said she doesn't know, but I have to request.
You can go
and then
online
they
and
said
request
August.
it. You can go online and request a duplicate copy also.
Yeah, I did it. They said August 31st.
Okay. So
they're gonna.
call me on this show September 1st when you get it August 31st. Tell me what it says, and we'll tell you what to do.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
All right.
Let's go to Anuj in Los Angeles.
They said they mailed a document for me based on the receipt number you give us.
Anuj, listen to the show,
yes.
not listen to me live, not the show. There's a delay.
I'm sorry?
There's a delay. How are you?
Oh, good, sir. How about you?
Good, good. What can I do to help you today?
Yeah, actually, I want to try to file this year for my citizenship. And I got the green card in 2016, October. And before that, actually, I got the green card through the immigration court. So I have a 3 criminal conviction against me. After that, the judge passed my case. So my question is that my first case was a conviction is 2002, and it was actually in California. So they count me theft, California PC 484.
When did you get your green card? Let's start with when you got your green card.
I'm sorry, what did you say one more time?
When did you get your green card?
In 2016.
Okay, so all of these convictions happened before you got your green card, all of these arrests?
Correct, exactly.
Okay, and when you got your green card, you told immigration about all these arrests, correct?
Exactly, because the immigration judge, she passed my case.
Okay.
She knows everything.
Perfect. So you got your green card how? Through the immigration judge, cancellation or removal, adjustment of status? What did you do?
Through the adjustment of status. My brother applied for me.
Fine.
And
So
that's why
whatever happened in these cases, you presented it to the immigration service. They said that you were admissible to the United States. You got your green card in 2016. You have 5 years good moral character. I assume you have no arrests between 2016 to 2021. Yes,
No, never.
Yes, you have to present these dispositions again. But since you have 5 years good moral character, you presented all these arrests beforehand. You're gonna become a citizen without a problem.
Okay, but ma'am, I have a last question. Can I ask you? I'm sorry.
Of course.
Okay, so I hired the immigration a lawyer. Right. So what happened? 2002, I have 3 charges, but for the immigration purpose, they dropped my charge for burglary is a dismiss. Only they charged me in 2002 theft, 484 and 466. After that, 2010, same thing happened. I got a 484 theft, but they changed my drop the charge to go to the trespassing PC 602K. So definitely is not counted in the immigration. But the last one I received I convicted misdemeanor 2013. This is my last case. It was 484 PC, but they dismissed but they charged me 459 burglary. And
did you go to jail?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you go to jail?
Jail for only they give me 45 days, but they give me a jail time only 4.5 days.
All right, and it was a misdemeanor ultimately. What you pled guilty to? I don't know. You're going PC 455555. I have no idea what California Penal Code is, but was it a misdemeanor?
All misdemeanor, correct.
Okay, so it was a petty offense. That's why you got your green card. So if you're
Correct,
convicted,
exactly.
if you're convicted of a theft offense and you spend less than 1 year in jail, you are your jail sentence is less than 180 days, and the maximum sentence is 1 full year. Not only is it a crime of moral turpitude then, but it's also a petty offense, which is why you got your green card without the requirement of a waiver. And so it goes back to what I said 5 minutes ago, which is you presented all of your convictions to immigration. You got your green card anyway, so therefore you were not inadmissible. You have 5 years good moral character now. Yes, you have to present your dispositions again, but you will become a U.S. citizen.
Okay. So, ma'am, in this case, to be honest, honestly, answer ask you, can I hire the Mr. Brad, or I don't need to hire this attorney?
You're talking to Mr. Brad.
I'm sorry?
You're talking to Mr. Brad.
Okay.
I am
Okay.
Mr. Brad.
Okay.
So if you want to hire me, yes, you can hire me. You're asking Mr. Brad if
so
you
it
should
goes
hire
back
Mr. Brad.
said 5 minutes ago, which is
I always say yes, hire Mr. Brad. Hold on one second.
great.
All right.
You got your card
Hold on.
anyway, so therefore you wouldn't.
All right, let's go to Yields in Chicago. Yields.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Good.
I have a question about my daughter.
Yes.
So I'm living in USA right now. We coming like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, USA from green card. But my daughter, she stayed there. She doesn't have a green card now yet. So can I apply to her bring here?
How did you get your green card?
I'm sorry, what?
Who sponsored you for your green card?
It's like apply like green card lottery, yeah, you know.
Okay. So if you got the green card lottery and you came yourself, then you would have to turn around now and file for your daughter. You wouldn't be able to. She wouldn't be able to follow to join you. So you would have to file an I-130 visa petition for her.
Okay. When I go to the embassy room, we don't ask about my daughter, so they don't know about.
So
yeah, first my daughter. So they can. We can now asking.
You misrepresented that you had a child.
So it's not gonna problem or no?
Of course it will be a problem because you didn't tell the embassy you had a child, and now all of a sudden here's a child. How come you didn't say the child before? And it has a bearing on whether you were entitled to a green card or not. Because maybe if you had a child, you wouldn't be able to show that you would be 125% above the poverty level. I don't know. But it could have a bearing. You're definitely going to need a lawyer. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's go to Trisha in Destin, Florida. Trisha.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You?
Good.
I had a question. I have a pending adjustment of status, and initially when I filed, my child was in another country. However, she's here with me now, and initially I had filed an I-130 for her.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to find out if I could go about adjusting her status
Who's
while she's
sponsoring you?
here.
Your husband?
Yes.
How old is she?
She's 14.
Okay. So when did she come to the U.S.?
In July of this year.
July what?
It was July 12th.
Okay. August, September, October 13th, you're going to file an adjustment application for her. She can stay, but file it October 13th.
Okay.
All right. And
Thank you. And I have another question for a friend of mine.
Yes.
She have an adjustment of status pending as well for, I think it's 2 years now, but initially they went in, it was a Stokes interview, and she has checked her case status online, and it just tells her they're in review. Would you be able to say why they
probably don't believe it's a real marriage, because if it's been in review for so many years, they've either investigated her, they have to write up a decision. It's a lot easier to send an approval letter than it is to send a denial letter, because a denial letter you got to write facts and reasons why. An approval letter is just a computer letter off the screen. Congratulations, you're approved. You don't have to give the reasons why you're approved. So usually when it takes that long, it's because they're probably looking to deny her or they're investigating her more. Most likely, I mean, I don't know, I'm not part of the case, but if you're asking me what the most likely scenario is, that's it, unfortunately, for her. She may want to hire a lawyer, nevertheless, to threaten a mandamus, file a mandamus, and just get a resolution. So because there is no resolution right now, if she's just kind of just waiting. Now obviously, if it's not a good marriage, if it was something that was not quote unquote kosher, then you may want to think, well, I don't want to sue the government on a case that's
Well,
not
right
good.
now they're having problems, and she says she's being abused.
Okay, so then she should file an abuse case.
Okay.
And then go back and try to prove it's a real marriage and prove the abuse.
Okay.
All right, so hold on. Bavin in Louisville, Kentucky.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Hi, how are you?
Good. I have a question. I am a U.S. citizen. I did file for my brother in back 2008, and after we moved a different state, so I lost the mail for something evidence for UCI because of the move 2015, and I noticed is in 2017. So now, anyway, it's possible I can bring my brother here.
So you filed for your brother and you lost the receipt or you lost the approval letter? What did you lose?
I don't know. Maybe they asked some more evidence or something.
Okay, well, I don't know
But I lost
either.
their mail
Okay,
because of the moving.
So the answer is, if they sent you an approval letter, fantastic. Yes, you can continue. If they sent you what's called a request for more evidence and you didn't respond, well, then probably the case has been denied at this point and you got to refile again. So we got to figure out what happened.
Oh, yeah. So you say we have to refile, and any other way is possible? Because if I do refile, it's going to 10 and...
It's going to be another 10, 12 years. Are there other ways to get green cards? Yeah, I would have to have a consultation with you to see if there's other options for your brother. But if you're asking me, I got an RFE on my brother's case. I didn't respond to it, whether it's your fault or not, whether it's COVID's fault, whether it's the mailman's fault. You didn't respond, then you got to start again.
Okay, so you say I need to consult you, but it is possible.
I don't know anything about your brother. He can get sponsored in a job. Maybe he falls in love with an American. I don't know. Maybe he can file for refugee because he's in a third country. I know nothing about this man, so you're asking me, how else could I get him? I would need to find out, and we don't have time on this show to do that.
Okay, all right. So I need to consult you because they are in India, actually.
Okay, hold on. Let's go to Kim in Cleveland.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for helping, and I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
So I have a question. So I'm on F1. I'm on F1 status, and I've been on F1 since 2010. I've been in school all along or working under OPT.
Okay.
And last year I won the diversity visa lottery, and my case was current in April.
Right.
So I submitted adjustment of status on March 25th, and then I got a notice of action on May 2nd. And after that, the only other thing I got was the fingerprint, and I did that already early August.
Okay.
And nothing else.
Okay.
I don't have an interview set or anything.
They got to approve you by September 30th.
Yes.
So
that's why I'm worried.
So yeah, so you gotta follow up with them and say, hey, I have 30 days left.
So I did. I went through tier 2, and then they told me interviews. They replied to me. The Cleveland FR field office replied to me and say it's awaiting interview scheduling, and that was a month and a half ago.
All right, so follow up again.
And then I did yes, I'm waiting for a tier 2 callback because now they're taking longer. And then I did a congressional inquiry, and they submitted that about 4 weeks ago, and they haven't heard back from the field office.
All right. Well, the only other thing you can do is threaten a mandamus at this point. You have 30 days left.
Okay.
All
so
right.
how much do you charge for that?
$28 million. Hold on. I mean, I don't know how much I charge for that. Hold on one second. I don't charge $28 million. Come on. Asking me legal fees on this show. Let's go to Christopher in the Bronx.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. I went on the 3rd of this month and do my biometrics.
Yes.
Could you tell me what time frame I'm waiting on to get my work permit?
About 90 days from the time you did your biometrics.
90 days?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see on my thing that it said 89 days now, today.
Okay.
So you
I'm
think
pretty
that
close.
after tomorrow I could call them and inquire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Enjoy your evening.
Let's go to Kevin in Atlanta. Kevin.
Yeah.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I have a question. I saw your show a couple of days ago, and there was a comment that you made about like if you got your green card through marriage, and then that relationship doesn't work, and if you end up falling in love with another person who is not a green card holder, and you have to wait 5 years before you file for adjustment for that person, right?
Or until you become a citizen, whichever comes first.
Yeah. So now my question is, what if you got your green card through VAWA? If you get your green card through VAWA, do you still have to wait 5 years,
No,
or
no,
is that?
you can get remarried again and file for her.
So if you get it through VAWA, that's fine. You don't have to wait that 5 years.
Correct.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to Jordan in Newark. Jordan in Newark.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello?
Jordan. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Thank you, Attorney. Appreciate it for being enjoying your show.
My pleasure.
No, my name is Jordan Mwangi from Tanzania. I had a question in regard to my case. I came here then filed for asylum, and now my case was referred to court. And in between there, I actually married a U.S. citizen, and my I-130 was approved.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the date that I was scheduled to go to court, the court was adjourned, and now they put my the MC calendar to 2024. Now, we tried. What's the best way to do now here so that I can have like a expedited hearing for my case?
You have the I-130 approved? I missed that part.
Yes.
Okay.
I-130 is approved.
All right. Have you filed an adjustment application?
Yeah, I filed an adjustment application.
The only thing there's no mandamus on an immigration judge. The only thing you can show is request a recalendar to make it come quicker. Hopefully it does. You can make a motion to recalendar, but there's no guarantee that they'll do it. You would have to show some humanitarian reasons why the judge should care whether you get your green card in 2024, 2021, or 2022. You just can't say, I want it. Okay? I want it doesn't help. Or you should do it. There are no shoulds in life. Okay? So, since there's no shoulds in life, yes, you should have your green card now, but there's no shoulds in life. So it's 2024. Show a humanitarian reason. Make the judge feel sorry for you. Make a motion to recalendar. Put your best foot forward and try your best. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, what that humanitarian reason is, but that's what you need to do.
Oh, okay. So it can show something like I offer humanitarian grounds, because I still get my keys down there, and when I came down here,
basically, it's why should the judge care whether you get your green card in 2024 or 2021? The judge has 10,000 cases on his docket or her docket, whatever it may be. You're just a number to the judge. Why does the judge care about you?
Oh, I got it. So, pretty much is put it in a way that do a motion to the calendar, but in the motion to the calendar,
explain why.
There has to be
give a good reason, and hopefully the judge cares. Because the judge can't reslot everybody. Somebody's got to wait till 2024. They're so backed up.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, and then the other question, the other issue here is, I was reading online about, I don't know whether you are sure or something like that, but I understand most of the judges right now, they they get determined on their performance, on how many cases they complete.
Right.
Don't you think this could be, it seems already my case is already, my I-130 is already approved, and I did file the...
It just depends. The judge is a human being. They see tons of people every day. They have a calendar. They slot you in. So they do it as quickly as they can. You want to be slotted in. What happens is, let's say, for example, I'll tell you how it works. Let's say, for example, somebody's applying for asylum. Then all of a sudden they get married.
Yeah.
So the lawyer writes the judge saying, we want to withdraw the asylum. We're doing a marriage case. Now the judge has this open slot. I have 2 hours free now because this person withdrew their asylum. We got to wait for their marriage case to be approved. Who should I put in this open slot? You know, make me want to, you know, put you on in a pile to say, okay, when something opens up, I'm going to move you in there.
Oh, I got you. Got you. So, anyway, you guys handle, does your office have jurisdiction in this area for Boston area? Because my case is in Boston court.
Of course, yeah. Hold on. All right, let's go to Fry in Chicago.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir? Thank you for your help, trying to help us, everybody. Yeah, I have a question. I came on 2011 on January on C1B visa. I ended up staying here. I didn't go back.
Right.
There is almost more than 10 years, last 2, 3, 4 months. Is there any way I can go and come back to my country?
No, you have a 10-year bar. You have someone to get a green card through?
No, I'm living here without status for 10, 11 years
Okay,
almost.
are you married? You're single?
No, I'm single.
Right, so I mean, the answer is you're out of status for more than a year. If you leave the country, you can't come back for a decade.
Okay, is there any chance to get a legal status or anything in future or something?
Yeah, well, hopefully the amnesty passes. That's what we're all waiting for, to see what happens at the end of September.
So you have any idea when that's going to happen? Like, you know, they say like a last...
As I just said in my last sentence, hopefully by the end of September.
Oh, that's cool. So there is a positive way for us to go back to come back, right?
I didn't say that. I said hopefully by the end of September. Let's see what happens.
Or do you have any other options?
At this moment, as a seaman visa who overstayed their time, you would need a provisional waiver to go home and come back. A provisional waiver you could only get through a spouse or a parent.
To what? Can you repeat me one more time?
A provisional waiver.
Okay.
To return, to go home, get a green card, and come back.
How can I obtain that?
You could only do it through a spouse or a parent. You have a spouse or parent? You told me no.
No, nobody. I'm just living here by myself.
You can't do it.
So there's no other option unless their amnesty comes, right? That's the only option I
Based on
have.
what you just told me, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. By the way, we didn't have a lot of calls today. One of those days. If you didn't get your immigration questions asked and answered, you could always follow me on Instagram at RealBradBernstein. You follow me on Instagram at RealBradBernstein. You could drop me a DM. I'll be happy to answer your immigration question. You could also follow us at Bradshaw Live. You can't handle 2 hours, but you can handle 6 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds of Brad, Yo-Yo, and Vanessa. Follow us on Instagram at Bradshaw Live. And of course, our newest, boldest, fastest growing platform, TikTok. Follow us at Bradshaw Live on TikTok. You may get a video response from me answering your immigration questions. Yo-Yo.
Yep, and you guys can follow me at Jonathan Elias TV on Instagram.
And you guys can find me at Vanessa.ContrerasTV.
And after we get into our social media check-in later in the show, we're going to hear the second part of my conversation with Priya Sridhar, host of the NBC7 San Diego Sunday news show, Politically Speaking, with an officer. And she is also an officer in the United States Navy Reserve. We'll talk about her experience working as a reporter overseas and her path to military service.
And we covered the NYC Dominican Day Parade in 2019, and I caught up with the Brooklyn Borough President and now 2021 NYC Party mayoral nominee.
He's going to be the future mayor of New York.
How do you
basically.
say that? Mayoral.
Mayoral. He's the Democratic mayoral nominee, but for all intents and purposes, he is our next mayor.
There you go.
Giving a shout out to Bradshaw Live.
Look, we got it. We got it.
Right? Let's watch. Our next mayor of New York City.
In Brooklyn, 47% of Brooklynites speak a language other than English at home. That's why it's so important with Bradshaw. Educating immigrant is so important when you look at Brooklyn, because so many people are there that come from different places, particularly Spanish-speaking community. So this is very important. And when you march down 5th Avenue or 6th Avenue with your parade, you are saying to America, we want you to recognize that we exist. And we're not going anywhere. All of us come from somewhere. And I say to people all the time, when people tell you to go back to your country, you tell them you'll go back when they go back to theirs. Because no one started out here but the indigenous Indians. You don't ask to sit at the seat of the table. You kick the door in and say, I'm going to sit here, and if you like it or not, you fought for your right to do so, and that's what I'm telling the immigrants to do as well.
You gotta let them know.
All right, way to go, Yo-Yo. Getting our next mayor
That's
of
what
New
I'm
York
talking
City.
about.
You
Yeah.
like that, Vanessa? On Bradshaw Live?
I love that.
Now
Some of
that-
the dancers in that footage are friends of mine.
At
so
the
that's
Dominican,
pretty-
at
You
the
said
Dominican.
what?
that the dancers in the video at the parade are friends of mine.
Oh,
There
really?
we go. Look
there
at
you
that.
go. Wow, a double accolade. Both the mayor and Vanessa's friends, all in one video.
I was definitely honorary Dominican that
Yes.
day. Everybody was just like, you're Dominican.
All right, let's do our social media check-in.
All right, our first one comes from Peter W. James Jr., Brad Squad VIP member. I'm currently on an F1 visa and I'm adjusting my status through marriage to my legal permanent resident wife. I got a job and my employer wants to change my status equally. Should I withdraw my adjustment through marriage, or can both marriage adjustment and work move simultaneously in the immigration system in America?
In the immigration system in America, you are allowed one adjustment application. Choose wisely.
Okay, this one's a little lengthy too. This one comes from Kristen Keol, another Brad Squad VIP member. My husband entered America legally 10 years ago on an ESTA visa. He overstayed by a couple of years and got a 5-year ban, which was up 5 years ago. He also got a misdemeanor due to having a couple of fake IDs, which he served time for before being deported back to Australia. Now he wants to move back to America, and I want to get his green card. What waivers will he need to re-enter the country?
A 601 waiver for overstaying his time by more than 1 year because he has a 10-year bar. A 212 waiver for re-entry after deportation, and perhaps a second 601 waiver for the underlying crimes of moral turpitude. He may need 2 or 3 waivers because the 601 waiver is going to cover both his overstay and whatever criminal records he may have that prevents him from getting his green card, plus a 212 waiver for re-entry after deportation. Needs 3.
All right, Unilee Morris, a Brad Squad VIP member. If I'm married to an American citizen who has a history of child support, can that person file for me?
Has a history of child support?
History of child support, yes.
Well, having a history of child support, I think, is a good thing. You're paying child support, or has a history of not paying
we don't know.
child support. Well, then if you have a history of paying child support, bravo. If you have, thumbs up on that.
Yes.
If you have a history of not paying child support, boo, thumbs down. Because if he's not supporting his own children or her own children, how is he going to be able to prove he's supporting you?
Tiff Tate, Brad Squad VIP. If I've received my letter from NBC with the CEAC login, but my priority date isn't current, what should I do next?
Wait for the priority date to be current, but follow their instructions in the meantime.
Shakira Bashiru on YouTube. My fiance abandoned me while pregnant, and it's been 2 years since I gave birth to my daughter. Can I file for VAWA?
Not on a fiance visa, no. Or not as a fiance, no. Unless you can try a U visa if you were the victim of a crime, but you can't do VAWA.
Opal in Greenland on Facebook. How can I file for my grandbaby in Jamaica?
You can't. You can file for the mother in Jamaica, who can then include the grandchild in Jamaica. If there is no biological mother and biological father and this child is an orphan, then perhaps we can do an orphan petition.
Zohaib Arif on YouTube. I'm an international student. One of my friends owns 2-3 18-wheeler trucks. So I guess 2 or 3 18-wheeler trucks. Is there a way she can sponsor me to get a work permit?
There's no work permit for tractor trailer driver, unfortunately.
Safi Darbo on YouTube. I have a green card through VAWA. Can I file for my husband?
Yes.
Ali01 on YouTube. I had an interview on marriage in August 2020. I sent a request 3 times so far, but no answer. What should I do?
Hire a lawyer.
Mr. Clay on YouTube, what can be done if a couple gets divorced 2 years after marriage on a K-1 visa before my conditional green card gets approved?
You can do a matter of cesse adjustment.
Boomy on YouTube, I have a U.S. fiance that wants to file a K-1, but my ex-wife in England, whom I'm divorced from, still has an active spousal visa application with the England embassy. I'm Nigerian. What's your advice?
Withdraw it and refile for the person you love. Or, I guess, right? Who's the person? Is that the person getting the green card or the person filing?
So I have a U.S. fiance that wants to file a K-1 visa. So,
okay, so all right, so
Boomy.
But she has another sponsorship for the UK. Through a wife?
The ex-wife in England, who they're divorced from, still has an active spousal visa
I guess for the
application
UK.
with the UK.
Who cares? You're divorced from her.
Wayne Roseway on YouTube, how long does it take to renew a green card?
12 to 18 weeks these days.
Joan Wallace on YouTube, I was not specific with my question last evening. I came on a visitor's visa and overstayed. I've been here for 4 years. What steps can I take to get a green card?
Start with a lawyer. We got to figure out all your options.
Joan Wallace, Nubia Sprouse on YouTube. After getting my citizenship, what can I do to expedite my daughter's I-130 petition? She's over 21.
There's nothing you can do. She has to wait on the priority date to become current, and then at that point, process her through the National Visa Center.
Janet S. on YouTube. Will USCIS accept 2 to 3 letters of recommendation from people I know as good moral character proof? I did an attached letter stating I have an arrest due to XYZ reasons, and I'll submit an FBI report after the trial ends.
Well, yeah, if you don't have a final disposition on that case, giving a letter from other people saying you're a good person doesn't matter. They're going to make no decision until there's a final disposition on your case. And going back to Vanessa's question about how to expedite your child's case, I forgot to mention, which is obvious, but maybe not obvious, you have to let the National Visa Center know that you're now a United States citizen so you could upgrade the petition. That would make it go faster too. But you still have to wait on the priority date.
Okay. I have Daphne Felipe Garvaho on YouTube. How long is it taking to get an I-824 and an I-601A approved?
About 18 months.
Another one from Daphne on YouTube. My friend who's married got a U visa and he is his mom's dependent. They're applying for a green card now. Is he eligible for a green card since he's married?
No, not as a dependent.
Suzanne Johnson on Facebook. If I get a green card through VAWA, how soon can I remarry and file for my present spouse?
After you're divorced and you have your green card.
Chucks Ogbona on YouTube. My asylum case has been pending for about 3 years now. I applied 5 months ago for the renewal of my work authorization. What exactly is holding the decision, and how can it be fast tracked?
Last in, first out is holding up your decision, which means that people who filed years ago are waiting longer and longer because they don't want to add to the backlog of asylum cases. So if you file for asylum now, you get a quick interview. But if you filed years ago, you're going to wait forever. The only way to make it go faster is threaten a mandamus or file a mandamus.
Sophia Crate Winkler on YouTube. Can a judge go outside the record of conviction when it comes to marriage fraud with a not guilty finding?
Sure.
Shanier Nwabuni on YouTube. I'm a single mother with 5 children. I applied for asylum and it's been 3 years now, but I was given a court date. However, the date was adjourned indefinitely because of COVID. What should I do?
A court date for what?
Asylum.
Make a motion to recalendar for the judge. Say you're ready to go. Let's do it.
Sophie on Facebook. I know USCIS has a lot of backlog, but how long do you think they are going to take to approve an I-130 for my husband and children under 21? I filed last September and I am a green card holder.
At least 2 years.
Janet White on YouTube, how long is it taking to have biometrics applied to a case after a biometric appointment?
About 90 days.
Abdomen Abdi on YouTube. Any updates on the visa backlog at the U.S. Embassy?
No, it's going by trickle, sadly.
Alisane Diop on YouTube, what are the qualifications for follow to join?
You have to be in a derivative category of a follow to join application and be a derivative family member of a follow to join. So you have to be either in the family-based or employment-based categories that have a waiting list, not immediate relative U.S. citizen, spouse, not immediate relative child under the age of 21 of a U.S. citizen, not immediate relative parent of U.S. citizen. This would be, for example, unmarried children of U.S. citizens, married children of U.S. citizens. Children would be included. Perhaps F4 brothers and sisters, spouses can follow to join and be included. Those type of cases. Employment-based cases, religious workers, investment visas. 2 more.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought that last one was me. Yuli Vic on Facebook. Is it normal for USCIS to waive biometrics? My last biometric was in 2013. It has been a long time.
Yes, because your fingerprints don't change.
And last one, Godfred Gebekor on Facebook. A friend became a citizen while the kids are overseas. Do the kids derive citizenship by default? Can he get a consular birth certificate record, or does he have to file an I-130 for them and bring them here?
He has to file an I-130 and bring them here first, and then they become automatic U.S. citizens. So yesterday I spoke with Priya Sridhar, host of NBC7 San Diego Sunday News Show, Politically Speaking, and an officer in the United States Navy Reserve, about her career and what's being a first-generation Indian American means to her. Today we will hear about her experience reporting overseas, as well as her path to military service. Let's watch. Priya Sridhar is the host of NBC7 San Diego Sunday News Show, Politically Speaking. Throughout her career, Priya has worked as a political, investigative, and general assignment reporter, both nationally and internationally. She was the bureau chief for Russian television news in New Delhi, India. Priya is also an officer in the United States Navy Reserve and serves on the board of directors for military veterans and journalism. She is also co-president of the San Diego chapter of the Asian American Journalists Association. She joins me today to discuss her journalism and military career, her experience as an Indian American living and working in India, and her thoughts on immigration and other current news events. Thank you, Priya, for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Talk to me a little bit about working for Russian television. Did they try to censor you?
Yeah, so while I was getting my master's at Northwestern, I had freelanced for, not as a reporter, but sort of a behind the scenes person for Al Jazeera English. So that was sort of my first introduction to sort of these different international news channels. And I really loved what I saw at Al Jazeera. I thought they were providing like a very different perspective on international news events. So I was in Maine, in Bangor, Maine, doing local news about snowstorms, okay? And all of a sudden I started hearing about this channel called Russia Today that was coming up, and they were really advertising themselves as being kind of like Al Jazeera, providing a different perspective on international news. And I was like, hey, that's something I can get behind. That's really what I'm passionate about. That's what I want to do. So, of course, I applied, I got an interview, and I actually landed up initially in their Washington, D.C. bureau. And at first, I was just a Washington correspondent. So I was going to Capitol Hill and I was covering things like the START Treaty, which was a treaty between the United States and Russia over, nuclear weapons and things like that. So that was pretty straightforward reporting. I didn't feel like anything that I was doing was sketchy in any way. It was just sort of stories that would, I guess, have interest to Russia and the United States. But I definitely felt as though I could sense that they liked stories where people were sort of challenging the American government. So we're not necessarily doing any like positive news about the United States, but I could stand behind every single story that I did as like actual real journalism.
Did you feel it was propaganda?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you only ever watched RT, you would probably think that the United States was falling apart. Yes. I don't know anyone that only watched RT. I would find that very alarming if your only news source was RT. But I thought, in addition to other things, then yeah, perhaps you're getting something interesting that you're not seeing on the other news sources. I started to have more problems when they started to have like a lot of conspiracy theorists on the channel. And so it definitely like sat with me in an uncomfortable way. So what ended up happening was I went to India on a family trip. RT already had a bureau in New Delhi, and I asked my boss, can I do some stories while I'm over in India? And he said, okay, fine. I did 3 stories. And when I came back, those stories ended up doing really well on the internet. And my bosses in Moscow ended up approaching me and like completely out of left field. They were like, we actually really liked what you did over in India. Would you like to move there? I didn't feel as though there was necessarily as much of an agenda in India as there was in the United States. Russia and India have a great relationship, and it really seemed as though they were going to just leave me alone over there and let me do what I wanted. So that was part of the reason also that I went over to India.
When did you work for Al Jazeera?
It was 2008, I think.
Al Jazeera, back in that time, had a very negative opinion by many Americans. There was, the terrorist network, they're not telling the truth. What was it like to work for Al Jazeera? And maybe you want to talk about why those stereotypes may not have necessarily been true.
Yeah, so I don't remember if it was Al Jazeera or RT that had this slogan, one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter.
That is very true.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah, that is true. And so I think that what working at those places at a young age taught me was that not everything is necessarily black and white. As an American, we just listen to our politicians. We live in a super partisan country. I feel as though people latch on to political parties the same way that you root for the Red Sox or the Yankees. Like, oh, well, my parents were Democrats, so now I'm a Democrat. So now I hear that Democrat on TV and he says that Iran is naughty, and so I must think that Iran is naughty. And they don't necessarily do their homework or maybe look at different perspectives. What I realized from working a lot of these different places was they were just offering more perspectives about what was going on in the world instead of necessarily just always the Western perspective, which is what we just naturally hear living in the United States. If you want to be an informed and engaged citizen of this country, you should be questioning your politicians and like, why are they saying these things? And how do other countries relate to that country? I mean, that's a game I like to play all the time. That's what a democracy is supposed to be all about.
Why are they, do you believe, not giving a full accounting of everything, and it's still a very narrow accounting of this is what you need to know?
Well, so I would argue that a lot of that isn't necessarily even the news organization's fault. A lot of times it's the people's fault, because we watch the ratings and we see, if you guys are clicking on things, we're going to keep giving you those kinds of things that you keep clicking on. Also, we want to be surrounded with people who think like us and who agree with us, and we want to live in our little echo chambers, sadly. And so people who think like Fox News want to watch Fox News because that's people who are basically perpetuating their thoughts already, and they're being validated, and that's so nice. And oh, these people just agree with me, and that doesn't make me feel uncomfortable, and I don't have to be challenged and think outside the box and wonder, oh, why do I think like that? Maybe I was wrong.
I agree with you. So now you're this very accomplished journalist, amazing life, and then you joined the military. Why and when?
So I joined about 5 years ago. I had actually gotten, after living overseas, I was friends with a lot of diplomats. When I came back from India, I was actually unemployed for almost a year. And I was like, journalism and news was always my passion, but I was having trouble landing a job because it's a very competitive industry. And so I was like, well, the State Department sounds cool. So I went through that entire process a few times and I got in to become a diplomat. And then I ended up landing a job with the Associated Press. So a friend of mine, actually it was the same friend that I did that story on, that NBC Nightly News, the guy who got deployed to Iraq back when I was in college, he re-enters my life in 2013. And I'm at the Associated Press in Chicago. He's swinging through Chicago. We have lunch. I tell him all about this. And he said, have you ever heard of, the Navy has a program called the Direct Commission Officer Program. And they essentially try to recruit people who have a civilian skill set or a professional skill set that can augment the military in different areas that they need it in. And one of the areas is public affairs, which is the same thing that you got into the State Department for. You could do all of the things that you wanted to do. You could serve your country. You could travel around the world. You could learn strategic communication skills. Like, what do you think? And I was like, this sounds a little crazy, but let me find out more about it. So yeah, I went and talked to a recruiter, and it was funny because at the time I had a ton of preconceived notions about the military. The idea of someone like me wearing a uniform would have made everyone who knew me as a child laugh because I was like the most rebellious, like rule breaking person I know. But then there was pieces of it that I was like, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love to travel. I love challenges. So anyway, I went through the whole process with the military, and the next thing I know, I get a phone call from an admiral, and they're like, congratulations, you've been selected for a commission. You're going to Rhode Island and you're going to officer school.
Can you tell me what training for an officer entails?
So when I got into the Navy, they actually had an abbreviated officer school for the people who were part of this program. I mean, you learn everything from how to put your uniform on to like the different ranks to the way that the military or the Navy is structured, like it's organized in fleets. So you're learning a lot about history, geography, what makes up the Navy. You're learning really, silly things like how to march in a formation. You are doing physical training because twice a year we do have to take physical readiness tests, and you have to meet certain standards to stay in the military. And, if you excel at those tests, it helps you promote faster. They're basically essentially trying to instill discipline, camaraderie, learn US history, learn about military history, kind of like all of that. For us, it was funny because we were part of this weird little program. So we were mostly all in our 30s. So the rest of the officer schools, they would look at us like, who's that weird senior citizen group that's marching around? Because we were all kind of old. And we were definitely a lot worse at like following directions because we had been adults on our own for so long that we weren't used to having to ask people like, oh, we need to go to the bathroom now. Or like, oh my gosh, we only have 6.5 minutes to eat because that is what they have allowed us to do. And you have to eat in a certain way. You're not allowed to talk to the people sitting around you. There was a lot of strange rules.
You've been in the military for how long now?
Around 5 years.
Okay. As a female, as a person of color, have you learned anything about the diversity in the military?
Yeah, it's definitely very male dominated. One of the things I've liked the most is, we're not really supposed to like wander around in the world in our uniforms, but we are, sometimes you can stop at a gas station on your way home and you're wearing your uniform. And I've seen a lot of little girls, they're like, oh mom, it's a girl, so little kids are always a little astounded to see a female in uniform. So I like that. There's a lot of times that I'm the only female in a room or in a group. I think one of the things that helped me a lot is that I joined at an older age. So I already had a lot of confidence from my civilian career that I was able to bring into the military. I think hardest things to adjust to was it is very heavily focused on rank. So coming in your early 30s when you've already achieved a lot of things in your civilian career, and all of a sudden you're an ensign, which is the lowest ranking officer. And so people sort of treat you like you're an intern, you don't know anything. And some people found that extremely frustrating, especially if they've achieved great things in their civilian careers. I sort of thought it was hysterical. And I was like, I would love to get you coffee and like take out the trash or whatever menial tasks you have for me, because I feel like in my civilian life, I have so much responsibility that it's nice to kind of like take a back seat and, whatever, have maybe people underestimate you a little bit. But even though on the communication side, I obviously know how to sort of like speak on camera to synthesize complex information and make it a little bit more digestible for people or viewers. On the military side, I have like a huge knowledge gap. So I kind of tried to do what I did in my TV career, which is just like everywhere I went, absorb as much as I could.
Are you concerned about going to war? Would you get combat, or that doesn't concern you at all?
The reservists deploy in some communities at a higher frequency than active duty people, which is kind of a little known fact. People, I think, hear the word reserve and they think it's kind of like a financial reserve where you only tap into it if it's an emergency, but that's not really the case. I mean, I don't think I would be fulfilled as a military reservist unless I do deploy.
I'm actually shocked. I never knew why reservists go ahead of active duty. I always thought active duty goes first and reservists would be second.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of the active duty people have to kind of hold down the forts at all the bases around here. Even now I'm about to go on orders to Alaska for an exercise that's happening. And we oftentimes get sent on these exercises, which are basically a joint exercise. So it's between the Air Force, the Army, the Marine Corps, and the Navy. But I went to one in Thailand that lasted a month, and that was between not only all the different branches of the American military, but all of our Asian allies. So we had the Thai Marines there, the Indian Army, the Indonesian Air Force, like everybody was in Thailand for this exercise. And so a lot of the active duty folks actually get sort of irritated at reservists because they just like drop us into all these cool, crazy exercises.
Do you have to like say to yourself, boy, I better get in shape before I go on this, or they just get you in shape when you get there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in infantry, I'm public affairs. So depending on like what job you actually get on your assignment, you might be sitting behind a desk on the exercise.
You're not like running through the fields with a gun and...
You could be, but for us, it would mostly be a camera, not a gun, because, you know, we work with people who are documenting things, taking pictures, taking videos. They're the ones who are pumping out press releases to the media, whether that be foreign media or American media who's stationed over in all these different places where we're doing that. So we're sort of the communicators who are explaining to people like, here's what we're doing here, or if there are any questions or the media wants to come and see something, or like, why are you guys here? I mean, we need to be transparent. That's what a democracy is all about. And so that's why public affairs is essential. And for the same reasons that it's been challenging to be a journalist because of all of this technology and information, I think a lot of advanced militaries are realizing that information can also be weaponized. And so you're seeing a lot of different countries use information or propaganda to sway people's thoughts in different directions.
Do you have a favorite moment or a favorite experience?
Yeah, so Thailand was a great experience because I was there for like a month. But one of the really interesting things was I was mentioning a lot of the U.S. allies, militaries were also over in Thailand serving with us. And there were these guys from the Indian Army who kept staring at me. And I was like, they're probably staring at me because they think that I'm Indian and they're trying to read my uniform and my name. So eventually they sort of, you know, came up to me, and I think they were enlisted and I'm an officer. So, you know, they were like kind of saluting me. It's a little weird to salute people from other people's militaries, but, you know, they were being very respectful. And it was just like one of those moments where, you know, there are females in the Indian military, but definitely not at the same rates that they are here in the United States. And it was one of those many moments where I'm just like, my life would have been so different had I not been born here. And they were so astounded to see an Indian woman in an American uniform. And we all took a picture together, and I like sent it to my grandfather, and he was just like so proud, you know, and it was just one of those surreal, mind-blowing moments where you're just like, how did I end up here? Me and that guy, I mean, we could have been long-lost cousins for all we knew, but we're standing here in Thailand. We're wearing two different uniforms, but we look very similar.
Where can people follow you on social media?
At Priya NBCSD for my Twitter and my Facebook fan page. So I tweet a lot. And then on Instagram, I'm at Priya Reporter.
I'm sure have reached many of your dreams, but it seems like you're a person with lots and lots of dreams still ahead of you. Tell us what your American dream is.
I just hope that I still have the luxury of the freedom to pursue whatever might make me happy moving forward in the future.
Well, Priya Sridhar, thank you very much for coming on, host of NBC7 San Diego Sunday news show. Watch her right at what time? Watch her at?
Sometimes at 4:30 and sometimes at 9 a.m.
All right. So watch it sometimes at 4:30, sometimes at 9 a.m. on Politically Speaking, NBC7 San Diego Sunday news show. And congratulations on what a varied and amazing career. And thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All right. We have 9 more immigration questions to go in 50 seconds.
We've been doing great.
We're going to singe Yo-Yo's beard.
No, we're not.
No singeing Yo-Yo's beard. Vanessa is safely in Miami.
Right.
Whether we get blown up or not, she will be safe. Vanessa.
Okay. We're ready to go.
We're ready to go, Vanessa. Yes.
I didn't hear. I just have the questions right here. I know I'm not missing a beat.
Okay.
I'm definitely not either.
I said whether we get blown up or not, Vanessa is completely safe in Miami. It's just Yo-Yo's beard getting singed.
And Brad's hair. All right.
Do it.
How long can I stay out of the country with the... Oh, whoa.
False start.
Whoa.
False start.
What's going on here?
All right, you ready?
All right. How long can I stay out of the country with the green card?
Less than 6 months.
What does it mean if a priority date is current?
Means that you're eligible for your green card.
How long is this I-601 waiver processing time?
18 months.
Can I be adopted if I'm under 21?
No, you have to be under 16.
Does a DUI affect asylum?
No.
Can I travel internationally on a student visa?
Yes, as long as you have the visa and you're still in school and you can come back legally, of course.
How soon can we file an AOS application after marriage?
The next day.
Will credit card debt affect my green card application?
The credit card debt does not affect a green card application.
Can a green card holder with a felony get citizenship?
Depends what the felony's for and when it was.
Depends. Felony. Depends on the.
There you got it again.
We're on a roll.
We is on a roll.
I like that.
I can't
like
dance. You
can.
guys can dance. I'll just bask in our glory. All right. Comments of the day, guys. Comments of the day.
First comment of the day comes from Carol Anderson, the Tiger, saying, I always look forward to listening to my favorite show. It's my go-to news channel. Just awesome. Wow. Tune in, everyone.
All right. Yeah, Carol. I agree.
Okay, next one. Comes from Deborah Gibson saying, squat up, and squat up to all squat ups in the house.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I like that.
Squat up back to you.
Deborah over there rapping. All right, our third one. Robin Satyamurthy saying, that tea is called Indian masala chai. Add milk.
Wow, an expert.
Actually, I do drink my chai tea with milk.
An expert.
You're right.
An expert.
Because it got a little spice
Tell
to
the
it.
butler. The butler? Come on, butler.
Chai tea with milk.
Yeah.
And our last comment of the day, from Bahim Patel saying, tea with whole milk.
Whole milk. There you go. Both of them.
But you got to warm up the milk.
Mm-hmm.
Warm up the milk.
Butler. I hope he's watching.
Wink, wink.
All
for next
right.
week.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're taking off. I'm giving the whole crew a couple days of rest and relaxation. We'll be back Monday. What day is that Monday, Jonathan?
It is, let me get it, the 30th.
Monday the 30th. We'll see you back for Fuzzy Monday. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465.